computer. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and it's going to take you to the Outschool website. And so when you go to outschool.com, this is going to be like your home page, and then right up here at the top right, right next to the help button. And by the way, anytime you have to email Outschool, this is the quote unquote email. So you just press that little help button, and there is a place where you can just use as your search bar, like if you need to find an answer quickly, then just like you would do a Google search, you can do right here. However, right there, and I missed this a couple of times, but right next to that, either right above it or right underneath it, here it is. This send us a message right here. This is basically your email avenue to Outschool. So if you're like, I don't see contact information for Outschool, how am I supposed to contact them? I kind of went through that for a couple of days. Then I noticed the little send us a message right there. So that is how you'll contact. And then this search for articles right here, I have used it 100 times probably since applying for Outschool. It's got the answer for everything that you need. So that is just really valuable. So don't miss this little help section. But y'all let me know if my internet lags too. Both of my kids are on internet on different things. So I told them that we would try it, but they may have to turn their internet off if it lags for you. So just let me know. But what you're going to, so right here next to this schedule part of the Outschool website, that's if you have kids taking Outschool classes, okay? So that is a little confusing too. If you're not sure, you're going to think, oh, that's my teaching schedule, and it's not. It's if you've got kids that you entered in when you signed up, then it will show their schedule. So you can see that my little one has a phonics class June 9th at 2 o'clock. So that's what that is. And then everything that you need to know as a teacher is going to be under this Teach tab right here. This is where you're going to do all your business as an Outschool teacher, under that Teach tab. Now this Find Classes, before we go under that Teach tab, I just wanted to share this real quickly too. This Find Classes is of course, it's if you have kids, obviously you just put in their ages and when you want to search for classes and that sort of thing. But as a teacher, it's very valuable too if you are looking up phonics classes. So I'll tell you just kind of what I spent some time doing is, because I'm tweaking, I have an ongoing phonics class right now. Oh, there we go. I knew that was going to happen. Let me tell my kids real quick to get off the internet, okay? Sorry about that. Okay, so emergency network maintenance. Oh shoot. Well, I hope that, okay. I don't know what that is. Let's just say, I'm just gonna, let me try to refresh that. Problem resolved. Okay, then, problem resolved. Here we go. Okay, so let me go back to here. So this morning, just wanted to give you this tip. Like I have an ongoing class that we'll see in a minute under the Teach tab, but I have an ongoing beginning reading class. And my first time to teach it was last week. I taught 4 classes of it last week. And I kind of felt like I've been teaching this very thing to littles, well, really from like preschoolers up through high school been teaching this same concept, and I will tell you that I was humbled teaching it last week on this platform, because it is not the same. I can't use like close proximity to get them back on task, and I had 6 little 4-year-olds, and some were muted and some were not, and I just thought, if anybody shows back up next week, I am just going to thank my lucky stars, because that's kind of how I felt. So I was like, okay, we've got to revamp this. I have got to, I feel, it just kind of felt like if I need to show parents that I can do better than what they saw last week. So what I did was I just got on here and I searched phonics, because that's basically what I'm doing. And what I did was I looked for classes that had high reviews in phonics, and I went straight to parent reviews, because I wanted to see what are parents loving about these phonics classes that maybe I'm not doing. And so that was just very valuable. I probably spent 30 minutes searching classes that were the same topic as mine, but I wanted to know what made parents love them, and what stands out about these teachers. Again, never ever copying their content, not even really looking. Most of their content is not something I'm doing, but I just wanted to know, why do parents love the class? And so anyway, that was very helpful. So I just wanted to, use that find classes to browse classes in your field, because it can be really helpful. And then, but your teach tab right here, this is where you're going to do all of your teaching, business. And so under the teach tab, and my kids are getting offline, I hope. So hopefully my internet will not be dragging like this the whole time. Any questions about that? Any of that, or comments? Please just feel free to interrupt. Hello, hi Victoria. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind today.
Oh, that's okay. So we were just, we are recording, so you can go back and watch the first few minutes. But basically, I'm just going through the Outschool website. And so we just clicked the Teach tab right here. And this is, so I just wanted to show you mainly, when you go under your Teach tab, the first thing you're going to see is your schedule. So these are the classes that I've got coming up. Okay, and so starting Monday, June 8th at 10 o'clock, that's my first next class. Okay, so when you see classes that say in progress right here, that means they're an ongoing class. Okay, so this will be our second meeting for all of these classes. But what I would do is just click on that. I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to show you that to get into your classroom, you just go to Classroom up here, and there is a green Start Live Meeting button, and that's how you get into your classroom. And that is the I'm not going to press it, because once you have a class listed as public, then it will start recording the minute you press that Start Live Meeting button. So another tip is, if you go into your classroom 10 to 15 minutes early to test out your speakers and your everything, just keep yourself muted and keep your camera covered until you're ready for it to be recorded of you. So anyway, but that is that. So basically, when you go into the classroom, all you're going to see is what you're seeing now, a Zoom. It's just your own personal Zoom classroom. So we're going to practice the features with that. But so the first thing that I want to tell you is, just you will be the host, of course, as the teacher, you'll be the host of this meeting. So you will have options here. What you want to do when you go into the classroom is you're going to look at when you toggle down at the bottom of the screen, there are options that will come up. And the first the first thing when you go on there a few minutes early is you're going to want to click the little arrow next to the microphone, and you guys will see. Now, you guys cannot see what's coming up here, but do you see the little microphone all the way to the bottom left on your
Is it
screen?
the invited parent or invited teacher, or?
On the Zoom, on the actual Zoom screen. I see at the very bottom of your Zoom screen, we have at the very far left, there's a little microphone that says mute. Does everybody see that microphone? And then there's a little arrow next to it.
Oh, I'm sorry. How again should I, if I'm just on the starting page, how do I get to my classes?
Okay, so do you have the Outschool website pulled up?
Yes.
Okay, so you're just going to go, I'm not on that screen anymore, but you're going to go under the Teach tab in the top right, and then you're going to see, the first thing you'll see is your schedule, and so you should see your classes listed, and then if you've got a class that's scheduled, then you would click on that class. It would take you to that Start Live meeting.
Oh, I see. And you know what? Since they're still processing my background check, so that's probably why it looks a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Did you see it when I shared the screen? When I shared my screen, did you see it? Were you able to see it?
I did see it. Yeah, when you went on to where it said like the Start Live and it showed like the in progress, so I was able to see that.
Okay, perfect. So now, is everybody just on their Zoom screen now?
Yes.
And tell me if you see the little microphone at the bottom left. Okay, everybody got that? Okay, so that's where the first thing that I do when I log on to, or I enter into my classroom, is I go to that little microphone and I click that little arrow. And if you click that arrow, sorry, my overhead light just went off. If you click that arrow, then you are going to see test speaker and microphone right there. Always do that first, because sometimes, like my headphones, for instance, sometimes do not automatically pick up on the Zoom. So I have to always test it first. And then that's really all you do there. Just check your speaker, check your microphone, and then right next to that little microphone is the little video camera. You can click on that video camera and it will stop your video, just like I just did. Clicked on it and it'll stop your video. That's what you want to do as soon as you enter into the classroom until you're ready to be recorded. Click the microphone to mute yourself, click the video camera to stop the video, and then when class time starts, you'll start admitting your learners into the classroom, but then when it's time to start class, you can go ahead and click the video camera again so that you'll be on the screen. Now, you are welcome to not stop your video recording, and just one by one, as students come into the classroom, you can small talk with them however you want to do that. You're completely in control of how you manage and run the classroom. If I want you to click on the little arrow beside the video camera, though, because if you go under video settings, everybody can click video settings, and then you should have a pop-up screen come up. If everything is probably set in general like it needs to be set, if that mirror my video is checked, then if you actually hold up a whiteboard like this, so for instance, I'm holding up this whiteboard. Okay, what does it say?
Hello.
Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay, when I look at it, it looks like it's backwards. But because I have that mirror my video checked, the students, you guys can see it, that it's not backwards for you. So if you are actually going to hold up a physical whiteboard, you're going to want that to make sure that's checked so that it's correct when the students see it. I found that that setting was already checked on mine, so I've never had to mess with it, but just in case. And then there's a touch up my appearance one that is always checked on mine, as I need all the help. I need to send all the help my way. And then meetings, the only one I want to really point out here is the spotlight my video when I speak. That one was not checked originally on mine, but you want to check it because when you're speaking, so the video will go to you when you're speaking. So those are just a couple of advanced video settings. Now, once you set these right here under these advanced settings, you will not have to go back and reset these every time. These are pretty much set. So that's the first thing you do is just check those couple of things. And then the next thing that you want to do in your classroom is you just slide on over. You'll see a little security button there. And then next, right after security, is participants. So you want to click that when you are the host. One of the first things you want to do is click the participants, and that way on the side, the little participants box will come up. That way you can see your kids as they enter, as you admit them in the classroom. And I'm going to jump to, we're going to talk more about participants, but just make sure all you've got to do is click on participants and your participant box will come up. So you want to do that. Then next is the chat. Click the chat. All that does is make that chat come up under the participant box. Now you can go to the chat box and you can choose to make it a pop-out box, or you can leave it right where it will naturally come up, which is right there under the participants, and that's where I leave it. I just find it easier to do it that way. We'll talk about that too in a minute. But let's go ahead and go to participants. Let's talk a little bit about participants. So when you are the host, you get to go to participants, and at the bottom of a box, there are three little dots. There's a three little dot menu at the bottom right-hand corner of participants. Do you guys see that on yours? Do you see a participant box okay, do you see the little three dots at the bottom right hand? Okay, and a little menu will come up that says mute participants upon entry, allow participants to unmute themselves. You can check mute participants upon entry if you want to. Some teachers automatically mute everybody so that there's not a lot of chatter and they can come into the classroom and just kind of go ahead and set their expectations before students are talking and making a lot of noise. Because my classes don't have more than 6 at a time in them, because they're mostly the littles right now, I don't mute upon entry. I just haven't found it necessary. You do want to make sure the allow participants to unmute themselves is always checked.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also allow participants to rename themselves. That's just not an issue with my age level so far. Now, I've had up to 12-year-olds in some different grammar classes, and it still has just never been an issue with me, but it is suggested by Outschool that you go ahead and uncheck that so that students, if you do have those older students, they will not rename themselves and, try to play practical jokes or something like that. What I will say is, though, if you're teaching the littles, I have had a mom try to rename the student, because sometimes a student will log on and it'll say Dad's iPad. And so the mom would try to quickly rename the student, and because I had it checked or unchecked, she couldn't rename the student. So she had to log off and then get on a student device and come back. So I feel like, in my personal experience, if you've got the older students and you might be worried about them renaming themselves, then go ahead and uncheck it. If you've got the younger students, I would check it to allow parents to put the student name in, so it doesn't say mom's iPad or dad's iPad or whatever. Okay. And then always check the play, enter, and exit chime. That way you'll hear, because when you start teaching, or if for some reason your participant box goes away, or you're not paying attention to it anymore because class has started, if you don't have that enter and exit chime checked, you're not going to hear or know that, hey, you've got a student, he's been in the waiting room for 10 minutes trying to get into class because he was a little bit late. So make sure that chime is checked. And then enable the waiting room. That's always checked, and that's just so that students can, it's just kind of where students are hanging out waiting to get in class. And then the lock meeting is just an added measure of security. If you've got all your students in there, you can go ahead and lock the meeting if you want to. It's something I've never used it because I just never really, I don't even think about that. Never had to. But so those are some participant options that you want to be aware of. Okay. Any questions or comments up to this point? Yes, Julie.
I just typed it in. When I click on the three dots, I can see there's a more button, but it's hidden by a save chat button, and and the more button goes away as soon as I try to get around it.
Okay. Are you, go up, Julie? I think you might be under the Zoom group chat.
Oh, I am.
Go up and go to the little three dots under participants. So just slide up to the three dots that are under that participant box. Do you see that?
I don't.
I don't really either.
I don't.
I'm the same.
You guys may not be able to see it because you're not the host. You may not be able to see those participant buttons. But so just jot down the couple of things that you want under participants. So the same little three dots that you see in the chat, you'll see those for the participant. Basically, the number one is enable the waiting room and play the enter and exit chime. Make sure those two are checked. Yes, Amy.
One question. I see there's a raise hand button.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you have your kids do that, or do you ask them, could you please raise your hand if you would like to talk?
I do. I actually ask them to physically raise their hand. Now, I have had a few of the older ones that will use those raise hands or clap or smile. They'll use those reaction buttons, and it's cute and it works well. It worked well in the like 10 to 12-year-old class. But for my littles, I just have them show me their hand for a couple of different reasons, but mainly because I feel like I will never remember to look at that, and that somebody could have or I'm just so busy, I'm not going to see a raised hand. Yes, Janice. See, I saw Janice's way before I saw Tracy's little raised hand up there. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if this is a good place for my question, but I'm going to be doing music things. I'm a retired music teacher. Is there a delay I haven't done a class yet. Is there a delay if we're singing together, or I want them to sing or whatever? How does that all work?
I have found there is a little slight delay. There is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will not be singing together with them. It's not going to work well.
Well, yeah, I would think the other thing, Janice, that you would want to think about is because here's what I experience, even though it's not a singing class, I am like in my beginning reading class, I do want the students to respond together.
Right.
And what I'm having to do is tweak that, because what's happening is, you know how whoever is talking will be big. That's the person that will be big on the screen. It messes with their minds. So they're like in the middle of an answer, and then someone else pops on screen and they shy back. It's kind of like, oh, you know, or it's kind of like whoever pops up on screen, they just kind of let them take it, and they're so I'm kind of working through that as my oral responses myself. So just one thing to think about might be, you know, letting them, depending on the age group, explaining that with them, you know, just explaining that to them, that when they see someone else's video pop up, it doesn't mean you're not hearing them, and please keep talking, right?
Okay.
Or, oh, hold on, my Dell was telling me it was about to do something. Or you may want to have, I don't know if one at a time is a thing where you mute and you only take one at a time off of mute. But that
The
you
concept.
can also,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, you can also, sorry, see, there is a slight delay. See what I mean there, Janice?
Yes.
So I'm just going to point out, in your video square, there's 3 little dots in every little, like if you toggle at the top right-hand side of your video square, there's those 3 little dots. You can click pin video. Like I just pinned your video and made you big. And if you pin a student's video, then no matter who is talking, you can see that student. But the thing is, it doesn't, like, do you all see Janice big?
No.
See, it doesn't pin it for
That's
everybody.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I'll unpin you. But so it only works for the teacher. So if you as the teacher want to zone in on somebody to see how they're participating, you can pin them. They won't even know it. But as far as the collectively, like getting a solid group response, I feel like it's something, it's a kink I am working out in my group reading session, because it's not, what I'm finding is I'm having to do very quickly call on them one at a time.
Okay. I'm just kind of trying to think through the process, because the publisher that I got the okay from and everything, it's going to be a concept that is sing me a story. It's like story time, but the particular author, they're all songs, and that she's elaborated other verses. So I'll think that through and see if that's something that I would have a call and response and give them time. What if I had them muted, all of them muted, and ask them to respond, but we're not hearing everybody? Is that?
Yes, that's definitely, I've done that too. No, I think it works. You're just not going to be able, you're only going to hear who you've, unmuted.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I thank you. Thank you for that.
Sure thing. Let's see. So, Victoria, I see. Okay, Victoria, did we talk about your question, or is this new?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was just like when we were back in the participants that, like when I clicked, I think I didn't do it right. So I clicked on the.
No, I think what is, the issue is because you're not the host. Now, let me see if I can make each of you let me see if I can make more than one of you a host. Do you want to change that? Okay. All right, Amy, I just made you the host. Okay. So Amy, when you click on participants, can you see those little 3 dots at the bottom of the participant box?
Now they're there, yes.
Now they're there. Awesome. So now I'm not the host, so all I see is raise hand and reclaim host. So Amy, will you click on Janice under the participant box and go to more and make Janice the host? And we can just all We can just go through us very quickly and you can all see. All right, Janice, you're the host
I'm
now.
the host. Okay.
So you
Oh,
click
wow.
on, do you see
Yeah.
those options now?
I see them. Yes.
All right, now
Yes.
Janice, you're going to click under Victoria's name, or on Victoria's
Yes.
name, go to more, make Victoria the host.
Okay.
Now Victoria should see those 3 dots, and Victoria, let me know if that works for you.
Yeah.
I see security. Let's see if I
Go to participants is at the bottom. You may need to click on that box again.
Yeah, I see that. I'm wondering if I just don't have like the room on my.
Are you on an iPad?
I'm on just a PC, and I see where it says participants, but for some reason I don't see like I see like underneath like where I have like Chrome and the Zoom meeting.
Okay, so you don't have the participant box did not show up for you?
Well, I see the participant box, just not the dots underneath.
You don't see the little dots. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to just reclaim host, and it may be because of the device you're on. They do definitely recommend a desktop or a laptop. You can teach on your iPad. You can teach on your iPhone.
Because this is a laptop. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you can, but they do recommend you don't have all the features with the other devices, though. I don't know why you can't see that, Victoria. We'll hang out later if you want.
Thank you.
And I'll try to help you figure that out. So Julie, all right, Julie, I'm going to make you the host real quick, just so you can see if you can touch those little 3 dots at the bottom of the participant box and see all those. Do you see all those options now?
I do.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So I think did we get everybody? Okay,
Not
Tracy.
me.
I'm sorry, Tracy. So Julie, will you make Tracy the host? You just go to Tracy's name and click on more and make host. I may have reclaimed myself and didn't mean to. All right, I just made you the host, Tracy.
Okay. And I am not seeing the dots either.
Okay, so the participant the box is up, yes?
Yes. Now we're talking right under all the little squares of people, right next to security, it says participants.
Okay, click on that. Click on participants.
Yes.
And a box should come up.
No box came up.
I don't know. And what are you teaching on?
It's a PC.
Huh.
Are you looking on the bottom right?
On the bottom right. When I click on participants, it's just changing my view with everyone stretched out across. Participants.
You should have a little box pop up on the right-hand side of your screen that says participants 6, and then it's got all of our names.
There, I see that. And down at the bottom, got it.
Okay, good. Yay.
Yes. Okay.
You see all the options?
I thought that was the chat box. So
yeah,
can I try it again?
Yeah, sure. So it's confusing because it just goes straight from participants to chat box. So Victoria, let me make you the host one more time.
Okay, thanks.
And
thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy, for pointing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
I'm gonna admit Brooke in.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's cool I get to be the host. Okay, so I go to participants.
Yes.
Okay.
Touch participants.
Oh, I see it. So I see invite, mute all, unmute all, and then the 3 dots. Is that right?
Click the 3 dots and you'll see all those options we talked about.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I was looking under like where it says chat. I thought that the 3 dots were like right below that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, yay. So we got through that. So basically that's what those options, you just need to know about those participant options. And let's see, the next thing that we want to go to is the chat box. Now we won't, when you click again, just like you do participants, you're going to click chat, and that chat box shows up right under your participants. And you will click on those 3 dots to manage your settings in the chat box. Now, as the host, you get to choose who, if your students can chat, and if you don't want any chatting going on, then you click no one. Do y'all see all those options? Are they available for you or no? Now, I'm
No.
just going to read through them. I'm just going to read through them, and just like you'll see them when you're the host, just like you did for the participants, but these are easy. So you'll either click no one, you'll click host only I can chat. That means I'll write things in the chat box. You can click everyone publicly, meaning that everyone can chat, but nothing will be private. Everybody will see everything. Or you can click on everyone publicly and privately. Everyone gets to choose if they want to send a message to everyone, or I could privately send Janice a message in the chat box. So you just, if you're teaching littles, it's really not even an issue. If you are teaching, I have had the older 10 to 12-ish range did have a couple of private messages from a little girl in one of my classes where she was saying, I wouldn't have written the sentence that way, talking about someone else's answer. She didn't want to say that. I praised her manners for not discouraging that sentence writing to the group, and thanked her for her opinion on someone else's sentence that they wrote. But so students that are familiar with online classes with Zoom, they will take advantage of these options. They like to I can't even read our chat while I'm doing this. So if students talk to me in class, I don't know it until after class. So I don't even, I have a one-track mind. Now with the older students, it's a little different, but mainly I'm doing littles right now. All right, questions about chat box. Okay. Brooke, sorry, okay. Julie says, I'm going to teach art classes and would like to understand how to use my phone with the laptop. The phone would be the camera showing the artwork, and the laptop used to see the students. Should I have a security button at the bottom of my screen? Julie, I don't know the answer to that because I've never used 2 devices to teach, but if you guys are not a part of the Outschool Facebook group that's affiliated with Outschool called New and Future Outschool Teachers, if you're not already part of that group, make sure you join New and Future Outschool Teachers. There are some Outschool administrators on that group, and they do cover that question. I know there is one art teacher that's an administrator of that group, and she actually has talked about this in one of her Q&As before, how to use a second device with your primary device so that you can show the students what you're painting or drawing, and they can also see your face. So I don't know the answer to that, but I can point you to that group. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen some of the chats, but I seem to run into trouble not having all of the information. So I'll go back. I know who you're talking about. I'll go back and maybe message her and ask her.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know that answer yet. Just haven't done that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and go to that's the chat box. Let's go ahead and go to share screen. This is how I showed you the Outschool website just now. This is useful for if you want to use a whiteboard, but you don't want to physically hold a whiteboard up, or maybe you want to play a YouTube video clip in your class, or maybe you want to show some pictures in your class, you can go to share screen. And so what you want to do before you go into your classroom, so I have a little checklist of what to do before every class, and one thing on my checklist is have share screen ready. So the only thing I ever do is I use the whiteboard built in So before class, I'm going to make sure I have everything written on that whiteboard already, so I'm not taking class time away from that. But any websites that you want to share, already have them pulled up in your browser so that when you share your screen, it's right there, and I'll show you. So you're going to click on, at the bottom right next to chat, there is the green share screen button. And you're just going to click on that share screen. And then, do y'all see anything yet, or do y'all just still see nothing?
It says
Mine
host
says-
disabled participant
Yes.
screen sharing.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Participant screen sharing. Thank you, because I couldn't remember what it said. Okay, so it's going to give you several options of what to pull up. There's going to be a whiteboard. Julie, under this option, there's also an iPhone or iPad. Then I have my Google Chrome pulled up because that's what I had the Outschool website pulled up on. And so I'm just going to click, though, on the whiteboard. And so when you click, you just click on whatever you want to share. So if you had a YouTube video queued up, you would click on the little square that showed your YouTube video. And basically, your kids will all go little, and they'll be in this column that and then you just play your video, or you do whatever you want to do on that screen. Now, I use a whiteboard, and so if you want to use a whiteboard in your Zoom class, in your Outschool class, for instance, I teach, like I said, some grammar lessons, and we did some showy sentences in one class, and you can write, my tiny black dog ate 3 bowls of delicious meat. Okay, so you can write sentences. That's one from our lesson. You can change the color of the font. But the thing that I want you to know about Whiteboard, because this can get sticky, is, okay, you've got this text up here. I clicked on text because that's what I needed. But if you don't always click, select after that, then you're going to be trying to like get out of this screen, but the text is still selected, and you're going to you might find yourself like I was the first time I tried to use a whiteboard, like, how do I get out of this? How do I get back to seeing my kids big? So you just have to make sure you unclick whatever you click on this whiteboard. But you can draw. So if you're practicing punctuation, or you're practicing drawing letters, if in one of my classes we're going to draw letters in the air, and as they're drawing in the air, I'm going to draw it on this whiteboard for them, things like that. And then you can just clear drawings, and you can spotlight different things. So if I have 3 or 4 sentences, I can say, Julie, would you read this sentence, and put an arrow by that first sentence. Okay, Victoria, will you read this sentence? So I can spotlight whatever I want to on the screen. And then there are also, you can also go to more under this, and students, if you teach the older ones, you can click on allow annotation, and students then have the ability to also draw or write on the whiteboard as well. So if you want to say, who wants to type or write their sentence on the whiteboard, or I have a sentence on the whiteboard, who wants to plug in the correct punctuation? If it's a math problem, who wants to solve this problem? That sort of thing. All right. Says my internet is unstable. Are we still okay?
Mhm.
We're okay. Okay, good. But yeah, so that's the whiteboard. And like I said, you can choose to share just kind of whatever you want. It's really easy. It's pretty user friendly. Just have to practice with that whiteboard before you get into class. Janice.
My question is about what you just said, actually. How do you practice this? Do you go on the Outschool website to practice Zoom? I haven't
Okay,
taken their course yet, or the class, whatever it's called.
good question. If you when you create your class,
Mhm.
if you create it as private first, then you have the ability to go into that class and practice without you being video recorded. Now, Outschool will automatically audio record you, but nobody's going to hear it because they'll see no learners were enrolled and it will just be archived.
Okay, so that's how you practice. You make it
That's
private.
one way.
Okay.
Now, but once that class is public, you're on camera. No matter, you can enter, like my classes for Monday, I can go ahead and enter those classrooms and practice, but it's going to be recorded. And all video recordings are saved for parents to see. Now, so if I go in 20 minutes before class and I start practicing, that's going to be part of the parents when they get to go back and watch the class later. That practice would be on there, and I don't want that. So what I feel like is the easiest way to practice, because your classroom is just a regular Zoom. There's nothing fancy about, there's nothing different about your Outschool Zoom classroom than if you were to pull up Zoom from your app on your computer. So if you've got your own Zoom on your computer, you've got your own Zoom account, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I just pull up, I just start a new meeting all the time with just myself, and that's how I practice, because it's not even, I don't have to worry about anything being recorded, or I just feel like, and it's easier, I have before made classes private so I could practice, and then I forgot to make them public. Well, students can't enroll if they're not public. So you don't want to make that mistake. So I feel like the easiest thing to do, I will say too, when I practice with classes that were private, I could only practice for so long and then I would get automatically kicked out. And if I'm on my own Zoom account, I can just practice for as long as I want to. I don't know if that was a glitch. I know Zoom was going through some growing pains recently, and so I'm not sure if that was what that was, but I just found that it was easier just to practice on my own Zoom account with just a meeting with just myself.
I've never started a new meeting, but I'll look into that. But I've just accessed our church services on Zoom. So I guess that means I have a Zoom account, which is the free one, if I'm accessing or not.
Well, you can access Zoom without having an account. Oh, well, no, I don't think you can actually, but you probably do have a free account. But you can just download Zoom on your computer. You can just download it. Go ahead and try to sign in, and if you don't, you'll go through that, either sign in or create a free account process.
Do most teachers on Outschool then have a free account or a paid account? Does that depend on the length of your class?
You don't have to have an account. You do not have to have a paid account for Outschool. Your Outschool classes on Zoom, that's all taken care of by Outschool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you do not have to have your own account. You have to have Zoom downloaded on your device so that you can open up the Zoom meeting. But you do not pay for an account to teach on Outschool.
Thank you.
Now, I pay for a Zoom account personally, just so I can have meetings like this and they can go over an hour. If you have a personal account, then your time limit is, actually, I think it's like 40 minutes or something, something like that. So yes, Amy.
My question was about the replay that parents can watch. My daughter took a class last week and I didn't see where I could watch that replay in my email.
Oh, so I don't think they only send the teacher an email when the recording is ready, but it should be in the classroom.
Okay, so if I go back in, I would see her recording? Okay.
Yes. Let me see if I can, so when you go under this you can go under record. Parents will also see a tab that says recordings, just like this. And so you could see, there's one recording from Monday's class that you can see.
Okay.
So yeah, once you could just go to that classroom and click on the recordings tab, it should be there.
Great.
Yeah, but I've noticed that I don't get emails for when recordings are ready for my kids. Only when my own, only as a teacher do I get that email. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I think you can get a free Zoom upgrade if you're classroom teacher. The maximum meeting time for a free, okay, yes, thank you, Julie. Yep, okay, and let's see. Let me make sure I went over the things that I make sure to do. And can't get in under participant. Oh, so if you have this, I got it, by the way, go through as a new teacher, you'll be offered a classroom training through Zoom. It's a 1-hour classroom training with someone who is basically going to walk you through what we're doing here today, but they also have more information like Julie. I'm sure that person could answer your question about using a second device. And then they also do talk to you a little bit about security. And so, yeah, definitely, it was very valuable for me to go through the training that they offer. And then also aside from the Zoom classroom training, they also offer like a new teacher kind of orientation, where it's another Zoom meeting, and it's for an hour, and you're in there with a few other new teachers, but basically they just kind of take you through a slideshow of, basically what is Outschool, here are our expectations, that sort of thing. I found both of them to be valuable. I'm glad I did them. Janice.
Another question. This is like a few minutes ago when you mentioned sharing a YouTube video. And as I was taking the notes, I thought, oh, is that another copyright issue or not? If you're sharing something, like if I was doing something on composers and a listening example that I have on YouTube, is that a no-no? Or
I think I have to say, disclaimer, of course, and y'all know I'm going to say this, but I am not an expert, so I am not saying this for sure. Definitely do your own homework. But I feel like because content is put out there for free on YouTube, it would be, it's public domain. I feel like YouTube is public domain. YouTube people want you to keep watching their channels, and they want you to drive traffic to their videos. So I feel like that's public domain. I know that there are a lot of teachers that do use YouTube clips and things like that. So I don't feel like that's the same category as, because YouTube is a public domain, it wouldn't be the same thing as, needing the author's permission to do read alouds.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. I would just say on the any YouTube videos, of course, not to make sure they're not too long, basically, just just like short clips, because parents are definitely paying for that one-on-one with the teacher kind of thing. Okay, is that training offered via email once background check is approved? I would like to take as many Outschool trainings as possible, but do not know where. Oh, okay. So I think it could potentially work if it elevates the learning, but following on Marianne. For YouTube. Okay. So Victoria, once you are a new teacher, you will see, let me try to, show you a couple of things. I will, let me see if it's still even under my tab. So, okay, once you go under the Teach tab, as a new teacher, you'll see a blue button right here under that Schedule tab under Teaching. See Start Training Now. That is what Outschool has just recently added. Basically, what I found is that it was a lot of articles and videos that you can find in that help search bar. But basically what it is very organized, and it's an organized and thorough training for new teachers. So definitely do that. It's self-paced. You just start the training. So like if I click on start training now, you'll see.
Could I do that now before the background check has been completed?
If it's in there, for sure. If you see it in there, I would start it, because it's just self-paced. Yeah. And so a lot of these, even though I've completed them, the reason they won't say complete unless, like, there are a couple of action steps, like get maybe one of them was like get an accountability partner. We really encourage each teacher to get an accountability partner or something like that. I'm just kind of, that may not have been one of the action steps, but that was an example. There were a few action steps that I didn't feel like I needed to go through with right now at this time. So that's why they are not showing completed. But yeah, they're very good. And you know, like for instance, you'll just click on, let's click on this listing classes, which is the second module, and it takes you through a complete overview of how to list your classes. Some of these are, so like this down here under resource, this is an optional live class that you can sign up for, and it's creating class descriptions. All right, and so I didn't do that, and that's why my it looks incomplete. But once you complete a section, you'll get that little blue check mark beside it.
Okay. And then as far as like this video goes, is this just going to be uploaded to your YouTube site so we can go back and watch later?
Yeah, I think so. I was going to do, I was going to just do a private link, but I think what I'll just do is probably just upload it to my YouTube channel, because it'll probably help others too that weren't able to attend. But so I did want to, though, go ahead and address, so that's just one option for training. And then your other option, there are those two separate things that are in addition to that training module that's in your teacher tab. There is the Zoom classroom training, and then there is the like new teacher orientation. They don't call it that, but I forget what they call it. But anyway, so there are three kind of different new teacher training things you can go through, and they're all very helpful. Everyone that I've ever talked to via Zoom or email through Outschool has been extremely helpful and friendly and approachable. So it's just been such a pleasant experience all the way around. But I think we just about covered everything. Do you guys have any questions? Any other questions or comments?
Thank you very much for doing this.
Oh, no problem. No problem. And Julie, when you do find out the answer to your question, will you come back in our Outschool Teacher Village group and share what you've learned? Thank you, because I know that others have to have that same question.
Yeah, there are quite a few people, and there's somebody in one of the groups who says he just uses his phone for both, and he flips it back and forth. So that's the lowest tech option.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'll let you know what the other option is.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, guys. Thank you. All right, I'm going to stop recording, and